WrestleMania 41's in less than a week, and on night one, we have the WWE Women's Championship, the World Tag Team Championships, the United States Championship, and the World Heavyweight Championship all on the line, plus three of the biggest stars in the industry are essentially fighting over a manager. These are my predictions for WrestleMania 41 Saturday. Welcome to Silent Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silent Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. First off, a big thank you to WWE for announcing which matches are on Saturday and which are on Sunday. It really helps content creators like me that want to release two different prediction videos. I don't think that's why they did it, but it's still appreciated. They announced this on SmackDown, which I have seen. Now, it's currently April the 13th, Sunday evening, around 9:30 p.m. So I've seen SmackDown, but I haven't seen the Go Home Raw or the Go Home SmackDown. So things might change. And I'll note where I think those changes might affect my predictions as we go along. Also, there's probably going to be a match with Randy Orton to replace the one against Kevin Owens. Looking at the card, there's 7 matches scheduled for Saturday, 6 for Sunday. So if it's anywhere, it's going to be on Sunday. So I'll save that for my next prediction video. But now let's look at the card. And this is not in any particular order or the order I think the matches are going to appear on the show. In the most recently announced match for the World Tag Team Championships, the champions, the War Raiders, defend against challengers, the New Day. Or rather, the New Day, as Pat McAfee calls them. Now, I'm a little surprised to see this match on the Mania card, whereas the SmackDown equivalent, the WWE Tag Team Championships, are just being defended on SmackDown, given the love that that scene's been given on camera over the past few months compared to the Raw scene. But still, we got this match. And I think if they had spent more time on this feud, they could have gone into the fact that the War Raiders both came back from injuries, whereas the New Day didn't respect the injury that Big E had. Now, maybe Big E's going to play a part in this match. It depends on if he's heel or not. He'd come down, maybe try to screw over the New Day. But regardless, I think New Day are going to win this one, and they're going to maybe go on a bit of a tear as the heel tag team champions. I kind of hope they would have won this title like a month or two ago off the War Raiders, not off Judgment Day. That wouldn't have made sense. And eventually we would be hoping that some team would be dethroning them at WrestleMania. I don't think WWE has built the War Raiders enough, so we really want to see them beat the New Day, but still everyone just wants to see the New Day lose. So when they win, I think it's going to be all the more good for the storytelling. My prediction, New Day, the new World Tag Team Champions. In another recently announced match, we have Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer, versus El Grande Americano, who people think is Chad Gable, but we can't officially say is Chad Gable. Ha ha ha. I'm happy this match is on the card because essentially we're getting Chad Gable versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. I think that's great. Now, if there's some sort of a stipulation announced, like, mask versus career or mask versus mask, which might be announced on tomorrow's Raw, that might change my prediction. I reserve the right to change it. But assuming there's nothing like that, I'm looking back at the beginning of this story. Now, before we had El Grande Americano, we had Chad Gable on his quest to understand Lucha Libre. And who was the one that he got some advice from before going on that quest? None other than Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Now, Dom has his own match at WrestleMania, but him somehow interfering with his father's match on a completely different night, I could see that happening. I could see something with Chad as El Grande going under the ring and a different El Grande coming in, and somehow that's revealed to be Dom, and then Chad comes back. Unless it's some sort of a mask versus mask or masks versus career thing, I think Rey Mysterio is going to win. I think El Grande may be unmasked, and this could set something up for the future. I think they might maybe not unmask him and keep El Grande as a character that other people can play besides Chad Gable. But I do predict Rey Mysterio is going to win, barring any unforeseeable or at this point unannounced stipulations. In what amounts to a blood feud, we've got Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, when people complain about lack of build, they are not talking about this match. And if they are, they don't know what they're talking about. This is a heated rivalry, months in the making. We didn't even know officially that Naomi was the one who attacked Jade Cargill, but once that was revealed, it made perfect sense, even though I did a prediction video saying it was somebody completely different, two people actually. But this one is going to cook. Now, Naomi is very experienced. Also, I love the razor blades in her hair that she had on SmackDown. I thought that was great. Jade Cargill, people say, is still a little green. She was being led by Bianca in a lot of those matches. This is not a tag match, though, but Naomi is very experienced. And the most experienced wrestler usually leads. Also, the heel usually leads. And Naomi is doing great as a heel. So great that I think she could actually take the loss here. I think in her first WrestleMania solo match, Jade Cargill should win. Also, I'm pretty convinced Bianca Belair at some point is going to turn heel, and maybe at SummerSlam we have Jade versus Bianca for a championship. See my other video to find out if I think she's going to get the championship at this WrestleMania or at some point after. But for that to work, I think Jade needs to win here and maybe continue the feud with Naomi a bit, but eventually Naomi moves on to somebody else. And we get Jade and Bianca. So it's going to be a hell of a match. Too bad it's not like a Street Fighter Hell in a Cell, but I think there might be other matches between these two, but I think Jade's going to win this one. For the United States Championship, the champion LA Knight, defends against challenger, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. I was ecstatic when this match became official, and I remember saying, I hope they don't change it or make it a multi-man match, because I think Jacob Fatu needs to win the United States Championship. Now, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight is interesting because LA Knight's a really over babyface, and Jacob Fatu is technically the heel. But the crowd response he gets, they love him. They want to see him do his crazy stuff. And I think he needs to win he's never been pinned, or I don't think he's submitted. I don't think he's lost in a singles match, except maybe by disqualification. If solo people come in and cause a disqualification, I'll be very upset. If they come in and cheat and Jacob somehow still wins, I'd be okay with that because that kind of saves LA Knight. He lost by cheating. He could go on to other things. But I think Jacob should actually win this one clean. Maybe then Solo goes after him and it's his babyface turn. I think LA Knight, I don't think it should be a squash. I think LA Knight should look good. But I think he's had a good run with the U.S. Championship, but I think it's really Jacob Fatu's time. My prediction, Jacob Fatu wins the United States Championship, walks out of WrestleMania with it clean, and possibly turns babyface shortly thereafter. For the WWE Women's Championship, the champion Tiffany Stratton defends against Royal Rumble winner Charlotte Flair. Okay, first off, if I was in Vegas, I would be cheering loudly for Tiffany in this match and booing Charlotte. And watching at home, I'm probably going to do exactly the same thing. But that's me as a fan engrossed in the story. Taking a step back, looking at it from storytelling perspective, it makes a lot more sense that Charlotte Flair wins and then Tiffany chases her and wins the title back clean at SummerSlam. SummerSlam is 2 nights, also in a stadium. And they might even have more people at SummerSlam than they have at WrestleMania, because it's, I think, a smaller one of the stadiums. I think Vegas also gave them a lot of money to bring it there on Easter weekend. Long story short, I definitely think they want to build SummerSlam, and I think this is a match that they could use to really sell that, and I think Tiffany's going to win it back. Now, that was my thinking when this match was first announced. That was a while ago. Now, recently there's been some, social media kerfuffle. There's also that promo where they kind of went off script, if you believe people who listen to backstage reports, Sean Ross Sapp, what have you. after seeing that promo, on one hand, it makes me want Tiffany to win even more. But on the other hand, it reinforces my belief that Charlotte's going to win. Charlotte is now getting nuclear Dominic Mysterio level heat. One way to increase that heat and have people really, really want Tiffany to win the title back would be to have her win the championship. She's already hated. If she's a champion and she's hated, it's all the better. It's money, like they say. Also, Tiffany losing the championship at WrestleMania to Charlotte Flair in your first year on the main roster is definitely something you can recover from. Winning it back at SummerSlam will make that even better. Also, if you win it from Charlotte at SummerSlam rather than defend it against her at WrestleMania, you will have won it without a cash-in. So that would be even better. My heart says Tiffany, but my mind, for my prediction, says Charlotte Flair walks out of WrestleMania as the WWE Women's Champion. For the World Heavyweight Championship, the champion Gunther defends against challenger and Royal Rumble winner, main event, Jey Uso. This is the match that I think is going to open the night, though it's a match that I think really could, at this point, be a better main event than the one that we have. It's hard to build a match over 2.5 months, especially when you have the most fundamental of wrestling stories. You've got, the plucky babyface that's really over with the crowd, who's already lost to the heel. You got this unbeatable heel champion. I mean, he was unbeatable as IC, and so far he's been unbeatable as World Heavyweight Champion. So how do you stretch that over 2 months? Well, for a while there, it kind of seemed like they were in a holding pattern, but that was okay. But then when they got into the stuff with Jimmy Uso, Gunther, destroying Jimmy Uso in front of Jey, who was handcuffed, and the last really emotional promo from Jey, I think ending WrestleMania with a big Yeet Fest would be amazing. That's not going to happen, but it might happen at the beginning. In fact, I really, really hope, and I think Jey Uso is going to walk out of WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, this doesn't destroy Gunther. Yeah, his IC title reign was more impressive. He could go on to something else. Maybe he could challenge Cody or Cena, or whoever, go for that belt or something other. Just be like an unbeatable force. Jey Uso, I don't think he's going to hold the title for that long. It's more, yes, it's always about the chase, but I think it's more about the victory here. I don't know if they can sustain this level of overness with him to another WrestleMania if he loses here. Unlike Cody, who was able to lose and come back and win the next year, I think Jey Uso is going to win. That's my prediction. In the Night One main event triple threat match, we have the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner versus Seth freaking Rollins. Now, as this is in Las Vegas, I think I have the right to say this match is kind of a crapshoot. I'm probably the least certain on this match than I am on any match on the card. Also, if we find out there's a reward, a stipulation, for example, the winner of this match gets the winner of Cody and Cena at Backlash, I reserve the right to change my prediction. But as it stands right now, I think this is going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to be a really good match. And I think it's going to, the finish is basically going to be Paul Heyman trying to help out Roman Reigns, turn his back on CM Punk, but it's going to backfire somehow. He's going to help out Punk, and we're going to be wondering, but it's not going to matter because Punk's going to go for the GTS or something, but everyone's going to forget about Seth Rollins, who had been out of the match for a while, is going to come back with Roman already out, going to knock out CM Punk, stomp him, 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins is going to win the triple threat, the guy everybody forgot about. This is probably going to lead to a feud between Roman and Punk that might last till SummerSlam involving Heyman. Rollins might go on to other stuff. But I think the guy who was a crucial part in last year's WrestleMania, both main events, and paid for his involvement and lost his championship, I think he's going to somehow get some comeuppance and win this match. Now, that's not going to send everyone home happy. Does that mean they're going to send everyone home happy on night 2? Well, watch my other video for that one. My prediction, Seth Rollins wins the triple threat main event. And these were my predictions for WrestleMania 41 Saturday. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you have other ones? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Also on Blue Sky, jasoncmclean.bsky.social. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, wrestling opinion pieces, and WWE Premium Live Event prediction and review videos. I will be back with my predictions for WrestleMania 41 Sunday. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.